Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell by the title of this video, we are in Halifax, Nova Scotia today. If you've not watched last week's video, that is us taking a low-cost flight all the way from London to Halifax itself. It's worth checking out because I think it'll probably surprise a few of you on how nice the flight was. We're here in Halifax. Halifax is Nova Scotia, obviously. And there we have the flag of Nova Scotia, looking very similar to the Scottish flag, obviously, and then the Canadian flag behind it. We're here down by the waterfront in Halifax, and we're going to spend the next sort of 3 days exploring the city properly before we head westwards and we head over to our next city stop on this trip, all the way across the length of Canada. If anyone's new around here, I'm John. Welcome to the channel. Really good to have you here, and I hope you enjoy some of my videos. I started making travel videos because I thought there was a little bit of a niche in the market. Travel videos for people who don't want over-sensationalized, clickbaity videos like that. Real travel for real people doing normal things. Places can be fun, places can be interesting, but also there's a reality to travel, and I'm trying to bring a well-rounded version of that to you. I don't know. If you enjoy it, then stick around. If not, there are plenty of other travel content creators out there for you. But if that sounds like you, then maybe consider subscribing and sticking around properly. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get back to the video. So yeah, this is my first day getting here. I'm not really going to do very much today. I'm going to go and grab some food, maybe have some drinks tonight, try and watch some hockey in a bar, and then, yeah, over the next couple of days we will explore the city properly before we get on our train west. So I googled what is the best thing to eat in Halifax, and apparently they have their own variant of a kebab called a Donair. And I've just walked past this place, so I'm going to eat this, basically. I'm pretty hungry. It's actually quite early here. It's only 4:30, but obviously if you do the time difference, it's 8:30 in the UK. So yeah, pretty hungry now. So yeah, gonna grab this. Works out like £9.50 for a Donair, and I've got myself a drink as well. So yeah, not too bad. Yep. So there we go. First thing we're going to eat on this entire 2-week plus Canada trip: a Halifax Donair. Right, let's give this a try. That is very good. The meat is like seasoned really nicely, and the sauce is like a sweet garlic sauce. I've never had a sauce like that. That's really nice. I'm gonna get stuck into this, and I don't want to make a mess by holding my camera up with one hand. Yep, so I've eaten more of it now. That is an absolute 10 out of 10. Completely recommend it. I'm going to try and do a bit more sort of cool food reviewy kind of things on this trip. So yeah, absolute 10 out of 10 on the Donair. Okay, so I'm going to try and be conscious of the fact that I'm here for 3 days and I don't want to film everything in one day. So I'm going to leave the nice waterfront area and we're going to go to a pub. I've had some dinner, so I feel like that's appropriate now. Well, that was a fun place and there were some fun people in there. The Nova Scotian fisherman that I was chatting to, what a guy. He was a real character. But yeah, I want to shoot off somewhere now and I want to watch some hockey in the bar. So we're going to move on somewhere else. It's not even that late. It's only 8 o'clock. A little bit pissed. But yeah, what's the point of traveling if you're not gonna sort of have fun with it? So yeah, we're gonna move on somewhere else, and yeah, should be good. Well, I'm gonna be honest, I have had 10 pints. I watched the Canadians win in overtime, which are my NHL team, and yeah, turns out Halifax is a brilliant city to go on the piss on. Yeah, brilliant. It is now 11:30 here, which is 3:30 in the UK, which means that I've now been awake for 26 hours. So yeah, I think it's time for me to make a move back to my hostel, which is about 10 minutes down this street. and we will have day 2 here in Halifax tomorrow, and we will do something a little more touristy than just a wander around pubs and get a bit pissed. Good morning from Halifax, Nova Scotia. This is day 2 here, first day properly. Slept pretty well in the hostel. It's not the fanciest hostel I've ever stayed in, but you know what, it was pretty good. Also, don't feel too rough this morning, which, considering the amount that I drank last night, is fairly impressive. Yeah, so the plan for now is that I want to go and grab some coffee, and then we're going to take a walk up to the Citadel, which is... But first I ran across this old cemetery from the 18th and 19th centuries, and I figured that was worthwhile having a little explore. It was really cool and interesting, and was basically the main grave site for the city for all of the early days of its settlement. Then grabbed a little bit of breakfast. That might have been the first time, but it's definitely not going to be the last time that we have a Tim's for breakfast on this trip, that is for sure. You can see why they picked this spot for a fortress, can't you? Because you can see the entire bay. Right then, just grabbed a ticket to go into the Citadel because it was only 9 Canadian, so what, like £4.50, £5? Not too bad at all, really, for a big tourist attraction. This is kind of what it's like. There's a fella doing dress up by there. And this is what it's like inside the Citadel itself. It is actually quite a large space, with the walls and battlements that you can walk around, and there's some sort of museum areas too that you can go in and learn a little bit more about the area's history. Well, I just learned some interesting things in the little museum by there. Halifax Citadel was so well defended that no one even tried to attack it, which is quite mental. But I can also kind of see why. I mean, this for a start is just impenetrable. But also you couple with that with the fact that they had, like, I think it was like 15 more like gun posts all the way along the harbour as you go out to the Atlantic. Crazy. Yeah, it would have been intimidating. Yeah, they built it well, to be fair. So yeah. Well, I've often said that the best bit about going to any castle is walking along the walls. And you can do that here, accompanied with some cannons. Well, there we have it. That was the Halifax Citadel. Only thing is, it has started to rain a little bit, as is common here in Nova Scotia. So I'm going to go and find some sort of indoor activity to do instead. And what better indoor activity to do than to go on a brewery tour? This is the oldest brewery in Nova Scotia, and it's called Alexander Keith's, and this is the big man himself. You can go on tours all the way through the afternoon, and they cost around £14. I wasn't allowed to take any videos inside the tour, so here are a series of photos instead. We got quite a lot of beer samples. There was like a little museum section, more samples. We got to look around the actual brewery itself as well, and then down into a sort of pub that they've got on site for another last couple of samples. Obviously the beer is a big part on a brewery tour, but they did also do a non-alcoholic option. Well, that was incredibly good fun. I'd recommend it to anyone. If you're in Halifax, come and do the brewery tour at Alexander Keith's. Sadly, couldn't film in there, specifically no videos, but I did take some photos, which I will show you now. And in my opinion as well, wasn't too overpriced. I think it cost me I can't remember whether it was £16 or £18. It was around 30 Canadian. You did get quite a lot of beer samples. They were in fairly small glasses, but you got 5 of those, which I think is pretty good for a brewery tour. Obviously, it's a brewery tour, you expect beer. Yeah, it was good. There were lots of varieties that you could try. It was just a really good time, if I'm honest. Anyway, we will leave that now, and I'm gonna go and nip back to my hostel, and then I'm gonna get ready for this evening's activity, which is going to watch some hockey here in Nova Scotia. I'm very excited for this, if you couldn't already tell. First, I'm going to show you around the hostel that I'm staying in. It is a dorm room, obviously. There are 8 beds in this room, and mine is this lower one over here. It's got all of the things that you would imagine from a dorm room. You've got plugs, light, a little shelf thing, which is pretty cool as well. Always quite handy. As well as that, there are pretty good bathrooms. It's the private style showers, so it's your own room, and they come with soaps and stuff as well, which you don't get in all of them. There is quite a nice communal space, which I did a little bit of work in a little bit later in the video, and it's got a pretty good kitchen as well. Didn't use the kitchen personally. Oh, and I should add that this hostel cost me £30 per night. Okay, right, time to head back out now. I'm gonna go and grab some food before heading to the hockey tonight. Right then, now it's time to head to the arena and go and watch some hockey. This is the Canadian Mooseheads in the Canadian Hockey League. This is a feeder league to the NHL, and wasn't expecting too much, but I really enjoyed myself, and it was a really good evening out.
We stand on guard, holy.
Well, there we go then. That was hockey night here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. The Mooseheads won 4-2, and I had a really good time. Yeah, really good fun. Great value for money as well. Yeah, just really good, to be honest. A little bit of a shame because it was a Wednesday, the crowd wasn't as big as it would have been for a weekend game, but still, heading back to the hostel now. And yeah, gonna just get an early one, I think. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Good morning. That was another good sleep there in the hostel just next to me. It is our last proper day in Halifax today, so we're going to try and see as much of the stuff that we haven't already today. Starting up, I'm going to go and get a coffee. Probably won't show you that just because it's Tim Hortons. You're going to see it so many times over the next couple of weeks while I'm in Canada, when people would arrive in Canada moving here for a better life or a different life with different prospects. This is where most would arrive in the country, Halifax. Specifically Pier 21, which they have conveniently turned into a museum of immigration. And then, after they would arrive here, a fair amount of them would then move their way across the country on the railway. And just like that, they have got a old Canadian national rail car here. Obviously this element is quite interesting to me because that is effectively what I'm doing on this trip. I've arrived here in Halifax, all the way on the Atlantic coast, and I'm going to be making my way all the way across to Vancouver in British Columbia on the Pacific side of the country. If you didn't know that, that is what this series is, and we'll be showing you over the next number of weeks, basically. Anyway, we're going to head inside now. Nearly 1 million people landed here to emigrate to Canada. Absolutely crazy. What's quite good is they've got a little model of what the cabins would have been like on the ships crossing the Atlantic. Could you stay in here for over a week? I'm not quite sure I could. As it says on this board, the voyage over from Europe could take like a week or 10 days, so I can imagine when you arrived here in Canada there would be, well, celebrations really. And what's quite fortunate is that there is currently a ship here. It is not an ocean liner, and it is not bringing people to move to Canada. It is in fact a cruise ship. The Enchanted Princess. They've got a nice memorial for it, but it's also worth mentioning that Halifax is where most of the Canadian Armed Forces, it's where most of the Canadian Armed Forces would have left from in Canada to go and fight in the Second World War. So obviously to people from those families this has a very different history, and yeah, it's worth mentioning too. Like I said, it is it does make it feel a lot more authentic that there is a ship like right here. Another aspect of the museum I quite liked is that they've actually got some footage of arrivals here at Pier 21. I thought this was a really nice touch and added a real human element to it, especially if you happen to be a Canadian who has family who emigrated to Canada and are visiting as a tourist, kind of retracing family history. I think that would be really touching. I wonder if my train is going to be like this. Well, there's the map of the railways. We're getting it all the way from over there to all the way over there. Well, I thought that museum was really, really cool. I thought it was really interesting. Similar to ones that I've been to in New York before, and kind of the opposite to the one that you can go to in Dublin, which is really, really good. The one in Dublin is all about people leaving the country. Obviously this one is about arrivals. It is Nova Scotia after all. And you can see that big new cruise ship that's just come in. Well, we're back on the boardwalk here where I started the video a couple of days ago. It's a lot busier today. There are 3 cruise ships in the city actually. There are 2 back to back there, and then there's one just out there, which I think might have just left. But yeah, it is busy here today, this lunchtime. It is actually quite crazy how much busier a city feels when there's 2 or 3 cruise ships docked. I mean, I know there's a hell of a lot of people, obviously, but it just, the city feels completely different today compared to yesterday. It's just packed everywhere. I just nipped into a shop and got myself a little Nova Scotia magnet souvenir, and yeah, I had to queue up for like 10 minutes just to pay. It was just absolutely rammed. I can only imagine how much busier it is here during cruising season compared to the rest of the year. It must be a hell of a drop off. Anyway, we're back at this cool area by here with all of the sort of street food stuff. There's a poutine place by there. And then this is where I had my Donair, just that one by there. There's loads of other stuff as well, to be fair. There's a curry house by there. think we're going to have another Donair today, but not from there, from somewhere else. I've been recommended somewhere, so we'll try and head there, I think. There's quite a big maritime museum here as well, but if I'm completely honest, the maritime sort of history stuff, it's not that interesting to me, so I'm going to leave it. That's not me saying that you should also leave it, but yeah, it's not really a big deal for me. So I'm going to carry on just going for a wander, I think. Well, we're back here by the ferry terminal behind me. We're going to get the ferry across the bay, across to Dartmouth. I've heard that that is a pretty good way of sort of seeing the city, seeing the skyline a little bit more, and it's fairly affordable. These little ferry boats, as you can see one coming in here as if I planned it, these little ferry boats only cost the same as a bus fare. And I found out from in my hostel that there is an app that you can download that covers all of the Halifax transport systems. So I downloaded that. I paid $7.50 for an unlimited day card, so I'm covered now if I want to get the bus anywhere, if I want to get this ferry anywhere. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to head inside. We're going to take a ferry across the bay. There's a nice little weight room in here. As you can imagine, this is probably much needed in the winter. Interestingly, the bay here in Halifax doesn't freeze in the winter, unlike in other places, and that is why it became so famous and so essential in terms of Canada's sort of seafaring stuff. These are the cool little ferries. So Halifax Harbour is actually quite interesting. It is one of the deepest natural harbours in the world, and that means that some really, really big ships can dock here, right up against basically the land. And that is, along with the fact that it doesn't freeze over, really, really crucial. And it's why Halifax has developed as it has. A little bit of geography. So yeah, we're gonna head across to Dartmouth, which I think is like over there, I think. Just down there by the bridge is the Halifax shipyard and also the Canadian Atlantic Navy. Another big benefactor of the deep natural harbour. And just like that, 7 minutes later, welcome to Dartmouth. Just across the water from Halifax. Oh, here we go. We've got a good view of the Halifax skyline by here. And this is Dartmouth. I'm not really sure whether there's too much here. There's an Irish bar by there and a pizza shop by here. I think this street is probably the best one for me to head up and have a little look around. Yeah. I wasn't expecting too much, but if there's something, then great. If not, then we'll just head back over on the ferry. So yeah, this is Portland Street here in Dartmouth. There's a few cool looking places, some pubs, some sort of yeah, pubs, brewery by there, some foodie places. I'm not really looking to eat anything at the minute, and it's a little too early in the day for me to have a beer. It's only 12:30, which is perfectly reasonable, but I'm not fancying anything. So yeah, just come for a little wander around. This place is axe throwing. That's pretty cool. Never been axe throwing. Some people love it, don't they? Yeah, so I think I'll probably just head back across to Halifax, to be honest. come for a little wander. The ferry ride was cool. Ferry ride was definitely worth it. Well, as my public transport pass includes the buses, I'm going to just get the bus back to my hostel and drop off a couple of souvenir bits that I have ended up buying, because I don't want to have them in my pockets all day, basically. And then we will probably grab some lunch and then carry on from there, I think. I might end up staying there for a little bit just because it's quite rainy now. And the next thing that I wanted to do is outside. So I might kind of hedge my bets, try and kill half an hour or an hour, do a bit of work that I need to get done, and then, yeah, maybe head out in a bit if it's a bit drier. So I've just taken a bus to get here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about this site and why this event is one of the most famous in Halifax's history. So the day was December the 6th, 1917. The First World War was raging, and this port on Canada's Atlantic coast was absolutely crucial in resupplying Europe for the First World War effort. Down there, you can't really see it, but you kind of can if you can look by that bridge there. Down there is the Bay of Halifax, and in that bay were multiple ships. One of those ships was called the SS Mont Blanc, and one was called the SS Emo. And sadly, those two ships collided in the harbour and crashed into each other. Now a fire broke out, and sadly the SS Mont Blanc was packed to the brim with explosives. It was transporting those explosives over to Europe for the war effort, but sadly that ship exploded here in the harbour in Halifax. It was the largest man-made explosion in history, and it remained that way until the atomic bombs in the Second World War. It was an enormous explosion, and it practically destroyed the two cities of Halifax and Dartmouth. Over 1,900 people died, over 9,000 were injured, and like I said, it practically destroyed the two cities. So we have come here to this memorial to tell that little story, because it's a story that's worth telling, because this city was changed forever that day. Just to put those numbers into a little bit of context, 1,900 dead means that is 1 in 25 people that were living in the city died. 9,000 injured means that 1 in 5 people that lived in the city were injured. 1 in 10 lost their house, and 1 in 10 as well were military personnel who were either working here on probably the shipyards or waiting to travel across to the First World War. It's yeah, it was a really big catastrophe, and like I said, the largest explosion in human history until the atomic bombs. That's crazy. Like I said, the shipyard is fully functional again, obviously. It's been over 100 years, I don't know why I'm acting like I'm surprised. Right then, I'm just in a different part of Halifax. I've not been here before. We're going to try Donair again, but I'm going to listen to what people have had to say, and I'm going to get some beers beforehand. So we're going to nip into this pub. Well, I was planning on leaving after the 2, but the very good barman in here has given me a free one to stay. We got chatting, and yeah, good as gold. Great pub, like really, like a great pub. What a pub that was. This guy by here, what a guy. He's a barman. Absolute legend of a bloke. Great pub as well. Yeah, if you're around, give it a check out. Yeah, I ended up staying there for 3 beers more than I was meant to. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Best Guinness in Halifax.
Yeah. No,
By
to be
far.
fair, I mean, it was absolutely lovely drop. Yeah, I'm gonna actually do what I was meant to do around here now. I'm gonna go for my Donair, Gonna try and redo that, and yeah, we'll see what it's like. So this place that we're going to, which is going to end up being pretty much our last activity here in Halifax, is so good that the legendary Anthony Bourdain actually came here himself. It's just across the road. It is that pink sign there. It is the King of Donairs. So not only did I get another Donair, I also got garlic fingers, because you all told me that I needed to get garlic fingers as well. I also asked for extra sauce, like a lot of you asked for on social media. There is a little bit of a delay between me posting stuff on social media and me doing this kind of stuff, so yeah, if you're not following me on social media, then you kind of lose a little bit of interaction. So people who saw me eat one the other day, as you would see in this video, have interacted with me since and told me to come here and ask for extra sauce and also these garlic fingers. So yeah, a little bit more interactivity if you do that kind of thing as well. King of Donair. Let's give it a try. Well, the meat is good. There's a lot more sauce. It's hard to tell if this is better than the other one. It really is. Let's give it another try. Now, these are excellent. And they've given me some Donair dipping sauce. So let's try it in that. The Donair was very, very good. It was fantastic, but these garlic fingers. Oh my god, these are unbelievable. So good. Well, there we go then, guys. That was King of Donairs, and in my opinion, out of the two Donairs that I've had, that was my favourite. King of Donairs. I feel like I'm a real travel blogger now. Donairs in Halifax, like Anthony Bourdain. Yeah, that was cool, wasn't it? Oh, I'm full now though, I've got to be honest. I'm not overly excited for this bus back into downtown, and I'm leaving tomorrow as well. Not even here for much longer. We're going to start our trip west, and we're going to be heading our way towards Vancouver. You know what, folks? I'm just going to wrap up this video here. I've had a few beers, I've had a Donair, I've had some garlic fingers, and you know what? I think that brings an end to our time here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be getting the train out west, all the way to Montreal, and after that, all the way to Vancouver, British Columbia. So yeah, I hope you've kind of enjoyed this little snippet into Nova Scotia. I haven't even begun to cover it really, but I have had an excellent couple of days here in Halifax. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. If you have enjoyed, then do stick around, because the more of you that stick around and the more of you that like these videos, subscribe to the channel, the more of you that stick around, the longer that I can carry on doing this, and I quite enjoy it, as you've probably seen over the last few videos. So yeah, I'll catch you next time when we're going to be getting the train to Montreal.